So today we're back on our daily series. So top fives for ASX Exchange Traded Funds. It's our daily horizon view. And 1st of March today. Great day. And it's a Friday. So the All Ordinaries closed up a little, 0.51% at 6,273 points. Just throw our commodities charts up just to see what movement we've got in mainly the gold ETFs, platinum and palladium ETFs, and also oil and things like that. See if they correlate with our broader movements in the commodities charts here. So top 5 percentage rises for today. We had Van Eck Vector's Australian Property ETF. Then we had SLF, which is our Spider 200 ASX Listed Property Funds. Up next we had VAP, which is Australian Property Securities Index. That one's run by Vanguard. Next up we had our China MSI 300 ETF. So that one tracks the largest and most liquid stocks on the China A stock market. Up next we had Core, which tracks the global core infrastructure fund. So that's the 75 least volatile listed infrastructure companies on globally developed markets. So, you know, there's a big infrastructure focus today on the top risers. Infrastructure is typically defensive type of stock or sector, I should say. Top 5 percentage falls. We had IKO, which is a new one for me. So this one tracks the MSI South Korea. It's hedged back to Australian dollars. So that one just looks primarily on the Korean Stock Exchange. EMKT, which is a new one as well. I don't recall seeing that one before. So that one tracks emerging markets, and that one's down a little bit today. Pretty low volume, to be honest. MVR, which is a reasonably popular one. We kind of see that one every day, and that one tracks our Australian resources. So that one tracks the NVIS Australian Energy and Mining Index. QRE, which is beta shares. So that one tracks the S&P ASX 200 resources stocks. So there's a little bit of a theme developing here. So you've had 2 ETFs focusing on resources down today. Number 3, HHY, which is a new one on me as well. I haven't seen this one come through before. It's a relatively small fund. So this is Aurora Funds. It's a high yield ETF looking at loans, hybrid securities, domestic and international equities, plus convertible securities and derivatives, and just a mix of everything. So it's a high yield one. So move on to our top 5 dollar rises. Our first is SPY, which is our Spider S&P 500 ETF. That's one to trust. That's a reasonably big one on our Australian exchange. IVV, which is a heavily traded one as well. So in the top 10 largest ETFs traded. So that's the iShares S&P 500 ETF, very popular. IGH, which we saw yesterday as well. So that one tracks S&P mid caps, so the 400 bigger companies. VAP, which is Vanguard Australia Property Securities Index ETF. Then we had VTS, which is the Vanguard US Total Market Share Index ETF, one of the big boys again. Top $5 falls, we had IKO. So that was our South Korea ETF. That one tracks the big companies on the South Korean Stock Exchange. IHHY, which is iShares a high yield bond ETF, and that one's hedged to Australian dollar. Up next we had ILB, which is a new one from yesterday, so it's back in the boards, and that one tracks government inflation. That one primarily invests in investment grade fixed income securities, so both federal and state government securities in Australia. ACDC, I love this code, the old ACDC. So that one's a ETF that tracks battery tech and lithium. So, there's a mix of companies from battery producers, chemical producers, also some miners, but sort of more heavily focused on the tech end of the market. IGB, that one's another treasuries type ETF, so that one just focuses on Australian treasury notes. So looking for a little bit of yield, dividends and things like that, somewhere to park your cash. Top 5 number of trades. So this be a parade of the big boys. STW, which is our Spider S&P ASX 200 tracker. Up next is VAS, that's our Vanguard Australian Shares Index. That one tracks the top 300 index. Up next we had VTS, which is the Vanguard US Total Market Share Index. That's another one of the big boys. That's inside the top 10 largest ETFs traded on the Australian Exchange. Up next we had IVV, which is our iShares S&P 500 ETF. That's another big boy. Then we had Bear, which is our Australian Equities Bear Hedged Fund. So that one tries to generate returns from a negative correlation to returns in the ASX. So obviously it's a bear fund, so they're looking to short everything they can find to generate their returns when things fall. Not a lot of trades in that one. Top 5 volume wise, we had IHCB, which is another new one on me, so a bit of volume through on that, 168,000 shares traded through. So that's iShares Cool Global Corporate Bond. So that one looking at the fixed rate bonds issued by corporations in emerging and developed markets. So that looks at worldwide companies. 5’s, which is our Vanguard Australian Shares ETF, tracks the top 300 companies. Big end of town with regard to ETFs for Australia. Another one for the big end of town is STW. So that's our State Street Spider S&P 200 tracker. The next one up we had US dollar. So that one can buy US dollars, so the difference between Australian currency and the American currency. If you bought that one 3 or 4 years ago, when the Australian dollar and the American dollar were pretty much in parity, you'd be doing okay now. You'd be up 30–40%. QOZ, which is a new one for me, hasn't come across the boards in the last week or so since we've been doing this. So that ETF tracks the RTSE RAFI Australia 200, so top 200 listed companies on the ASX, but that one's constructed via size, so the biggest companies have a bigger percentage, so it's weighted towards company market cap. So our top 5 by value, we had our iShares Core Global Corporate Bond ETF, which is hedged back to Australian dollar. So as mentioned before, that one is made up of corporates and in emerging and developed worldwide markets, so bonds issued by big companies, small companies throughout the world. Quite a large value for that one today. Probably the biggest value for a single stock in one day that we've seen so far since we've been doing this, which is a little bit over a week. We've got our iShares S&P 500 ETF again, and that looks, value-wise, there's quite a bit of value on that one gone through as well, higher than normal. Usually only sort of up to 12 mil sort of level, $12 million level. VAS tracks our top 300 on the ASX. Still quite a big good volume for that today, so value-wise. Then we had our State Street Spider S&P ASX 200 ETF. Still a good value going through there, so there's people chasing those. IEM, which is our emerging markets. So obviously people are looking at emerging markets today because there's a bit of volume, so quite a bit of value attached to that one, so a bit over 4 mil. So that one is an interesting one actually, because that one tracks 21 emerging market indexes. So if you think it's an emerging market, it's pretty much in that index. Countries like Turkey, some South American countries like Brazil and places like that. So as always, this is educational, just trying to show you guys what the big movers are and who's buying what's being bought. So education wise, so if you're keen to buy any of these ETFs that do come up quite regularly, do your research. There are some good options there, but please do your research. Hi, it's Crack the Sky Productions. Crack a like, crack a subscribe if you like what I'm doing.